So
Ah,
I'll just allow him do most of the talkings today.
ah.
Yeah, so follow us on all our social media platforms. We have Facebook, which is Nigeria, and Twitter and Instagram, which is Lagoon Radio NG. Of course, you can watch us live from our YouTube channel, which is lagoon.tv, and from optimal, up to date information, please go through our website, which is lagoon.news. Of course, I'm your host, Odo Emmanuel, and today I'm so excited, very, very excited because today is going to be very, very informative. A lot of information will be thrown out to us, and just tag along as we go on. And it's just 7 minutes past the hour of one, and so we'll just go straight to this topic. So Femi,
Yep.
yeah, a little intro about yourself. Just give us like a top level intro of yourself. Then we'll now go into the main matter of the day.
Okay. I hope I can catch up with your excitement.
Yeah, sure.
So like you said, my name is Olufemi Omotayo. I've been within the startup scene,
Yeah,
like for a while. We've been basically curating activities around that space
sure.
for about a decade now or more, since 2011. So what do I do actually? I have a background in media and communication. Um, I'm a content creator, if you put it that way. So with that, I have background experience with journalism.
Yeah.
Worked with some of the big names in the newspaper space. And also I freelance. Many of my works are actually from freelance activities. So that gives me that understanding. That journalism background
Okay.
makes me want to basically curate information and knowledge around the space. So when I say 2011, that was when I decided to now go into the startup scene as a startup founder myself. So that's why
Good, good.
that's why I
So
came into this space.
yeah, so that means I'm talking to the right person.
Okay.
So yeah, of course, there's been a lot of buzz about startups. A lot of so I would like you to show like throw more light in with regards to what is a startup or what is a company. Can you differentiate between a startup and a full-fledged company, so that at least those who don't understand what we're talking about will have like a first level understanding of what is a startup
Okay.
and what does it entail?
Okay. So there is no one answer fit all for anything. So it's the same with this.
Okay.
I'm not going to give any textbook definition of
Definition,
it.
yeah.
So a startup business essentially talks about a business that is not yet publicly quoted.
Okay.
It's not uh, out there in the open for the whole. It may be open, but the idea of a startup is within the space of one just incubation period between the space of say when you the idea came ideation to the time when you actually execute that concept,
Okay.
and then you are now bringing the concept into the marketplace. So it depends on the startup founder and also the support he or she gets. So it
Okay.
makes that process. So the process can be as short as few weeks, and it could be as long as few years. So it depends mostly on the founder as well as the extraneous circumstances around it
So
or
you
her.
mean if I have a website now and I have a laptop, that means automatically I'm now a co-founder, or I'm now a tech startup.
Oh, okay. That's a good angle to it. So there's that would be a misconception. So people think that because they have a website and an idea, it makes them a startup owner. Oh, sorry, it's not like
It's
that.
kind of
It is not like that. So the real startup. So by the time when you call you a startup owner, a startup founder, means that um, this is now something that you really want to do. You have a proof of concept.
yeah,
You share it with a number of people.
yeah.
Some of the startup actually they go through what we call I like the fact that this ecosystem supports that. That's what we call the hackathons.
Okay.
Basically a brainstorming session where people come around, share their ideas, find supporters. So the whole concept of startup is for people to also see the concept that you have in your head and say, yes, I like it, I vibe with that. Let's make it work. Getting people to work with you is one of the fundamentals in
Okay.
startups.
Yeah.
So if you are just alone, struggling with yourself, with your laptop, with your idea, some people have ideas that they've been nursing for the past. Um, I can give example of someone who has idea. He's been nursing for. He just have the idea. He just have the concept. He carries it about. He nurses it, and he's been doing that for the past 6 years.
Wow.
So and he hasn't done anything about it.
Wow.
So we can't call that a startup. It's just idea.
It's
Do you
just an
understand?
ideation stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
It's
idea.
just
So when we can now call it a startup when you have, you have thought through the process. You now take it beyond idea. You execute it, meaning that you create processes for that idea to come into the marketplace, whatever idea it is. It could be a product or a service.
okay.
It goes beyond you alone fantasizing about it
Okay.
and now taking it to the society. And how do you get that? You get that by your friends and folks, if you get what I
Yeah.
mean.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
um Giving you feedback, someone coming to you say, let me be part of what you are doing and all that. So that's when you become a startup. And if that idea is really good,
Okay.
you get support not only from your friends and folks, you also get from family, and also from people you don't know, so you can get investors.
Yeah,
that's
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 true.
that's that's when
No,
you
we'll
take
still
it up.
get to that point. I just
Yeah,
want us to take it a bit a step
yeah,
at a time. We'll
yeah,
get to the point
yeah.
of investment and how you can attract investors with your startups.
Okay.
So, good. At least there's a clarity in what we're talking about now. At
Yeah.
least we understand the fundamentals, what it means to be a startup. It's not just you carrying your laptop up and down, just have a website and you think, yeah, you're good. And the idea is just in you. It's just there. Nobody understands your vision, nobody understands what you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's that need for that clarity. You
Yeah.
being able to understand the difference between and the ideation stage and actually having a proof of concept,
Yeah.
because that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond that because there are two factors towards this thing. You need to have a business plan, of course, that will be very, very detailed. You have your two parts. You have your financials and your non-financial goals,
Yeah.
your projections for like 5 years. So of course, those things are based on projections. They are not actual figures because, of course, we know you're just new into the business. You
Yeah.
need to understand. You need to have a minimal viable product
Oh, sure.
that you're rolling out with.
Oh, sure.
So basically, so then when you do your proof of concept, you hit the streets,
Yeah.
you get early users, early adopters to be able to test your solution if it's going to be scalable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before you start talking to investors like the stage three
Yeah.
of talking about being a full-fledged startup.
Startup. Yeah.
So it's not just waking up and just have an idea. You think that's it. Yeah, I have an idea. This idea, it's gonna make
No,
me,
idea is actually the least part of this the startup
you know,
system. It's there are ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen. There are so
of
many
course.
ideas. Execution is the
It's
main
very
important
key.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
execution.
Yeah.
Because having an idea, for crying out loud, you're not the only one thinking about that
Oh,
thing.
sure.
So you have like a million people
Uh,
thinking about those things.
you
And
can bet.
another thing I just discovered is, a lot of people just think about um, see the startup thing as just I don't know the right word to use to maybe express this. They just think maybe you just have an idea. They don't really understand that you need to understand the business around it. Every idea has its own sales secret.
Yeah.
Every business has its own sales secret. It has its own. So you need to do your due diligence. You need to research, understand your market,
Yeah.
understand the target. You need to know if it's going to be a niche market or a mass market.
Yeah.
You need to understand the problem that you're solving because it's all about problem solving. If people like Bill Gates, they solved $1 billion problem.
So I get perfectly. I mean, you basically are doing. We're having a conversation. So
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, but so there's a difference. And the idea of startups, it now looks like a very funky thing to
Mm,
do
mm-hmm.
to a lot of people. when they see the guys who are representing the startup
Ecosystem.
ecosystem, the way they dress, some
Mm.
people like that idea that
Yeah.
I have my own free time.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want at whenever I want.
Really? Is it really like that?
No, I'm just giving that's the impression. That's
Yeah.
the impression people think
Yeah.
the people have that this is what startup is about, but it's not.
Okay.
It's far, far beyond that. So yeah, the reward is massive, but you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
All the guys we reference now,
Yeah.
if they tell you the insane amount of effort they put in when they're about starting the business, the idea. Sometimes they get a lot of rejections.
Sure.
Sometimes they even doubt themselves. They just felt, well, am I sure this I'm doing the right thing? But they just kept pushing, and then they eventually they scale
Yeah.
through.
It's
Yeah,
go through.
yeah. It's a process. It's not just for a day you get your 1 billion valuation. No, it doesn't work like that.
Recently, I saw about last week, we saw some of these tech startups that raised a lot of money around I think it was I can't remember about I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
So some of them like sometimes last week they were able to raise fundings. They went through the around C process and they were able to raise up to like 20 to 30 million dollars last week.
Yeah.
So it means it's a very lucrative venture or enterprise or space, if I may
Well,
use that word.
well. If you look at it, in the last 2 3 years, the numbers have been really, really,
Yeah, so it has been going up like
they're like seriously crazy. And if you just oppose that with with the rate of the naira at the
yeah,
moment, if you now do the valuation in naira,
okay,
it becomes crazy numbers, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So but the thing is that it's a global village, right?
okay,
So the people investing, they don't look at the local currency. They
okay.
invest based on the numbers of potential customers, and that's the whole concept.
So like this brings me to this question. My fear is, like for instance, maybe I go through the startup process and maybe for instance, I was supposed to talk about the incubation hubs around
Oh,
Lagos
sure,
and
sure, sure,
Nigeria
for sure.
where the startups can actually go and get the kind of support they need for their businesses, maybe expertise, maybe in terms of cash, maybe in terms of material support, maybe in terms of intellectual support and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
So, but my fear is, like, for instance, now, if so, because I believe when you're raising funds from investors, you do a projection. They look at your books, they look at your financials,
sure,
they look at your goals,
absolutely.
they look at your projections, your 5 year plan, they look at your financials, the 5 year financial goals, 10-year financial goals, they look at those prospects. And it's based on your books.
Yep.
They evaluate you and they try to give you what they think is appropriate for your business to scale.
Yep.
So, but my fear is, like, for instance, now if I was evaluated at maybe to be a $1 billion company as of last year
Yep.
when the dollar was like 414,
Yep.
420,
Yep.
and now the dollar is 530.
Yep.
How would you manage to fit into, because of course it means that you're going to be losing a lot of money, because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you're going to be paying your investors in
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is one of the challenges. If you want, we can immediately go into the challenges of being a startup
Sure.
owner
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Nigeria.
Yeah, I think
There are
me too.
so many reasons why you shouldn't be a startup founder in Nigeria. But there are also so many reasons why you should be.
Okay.
So it's like the yin yang,
Mm,
the positive and the negative.
yeah.
They always work together,
Okay.
sync or not. So um the reason why you keep seeing investors come into Nigerian space is that they see a lot of prospects in this country. And Nigeria is bubbling with, I mean, over 60% of Nigerian population are youth within the space
Sure. Yeah.
of that innovative space of their life when they can do things, they can actually get things done. So that's why it's really bubbling. It's a very factors. You did mention some spaces where startups are they can go
Yeah.
and get things done. And it brings me back to why are we where we are now in this space of our startup ecosystem development. The evolution started over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, some of the facilitators for this ecosystem are the ops.
Mm-hmm.
But the ops are not the only one. There are private investors also. There were
Yeah, venture
uh,
capitalists.
venture capitalists, even angel investors.
Yeah.
I remember um, the first startup weekend
Okay.
done in Nigeria was the Lagos Startup Weekend
Okay.
2011. Um, it was a very fantastic, and some of the ideas pitched then, I believe some of them have, they might have changed
Yeah,
nomenclature,
of course, of
but
course. Yeah,
the
business.
concept, the real concept of that, those pitches
Mm.
have, evolved into real business. It was around that time that even the CCO of today were just starting up around, around in Yaba,
Yeah.
starting up with what they call then developers parapor,
Okay.
which was basically a gathering of developers. It was just like an avenue for developers, coders. It was a new concept basically, but people were really excited about the concept of just coming together. So that's why they call it parapor. So those developers parapor, people come around, talk, share ideas. They have product showcase, and
Yeah.
then it led to what we now call hackathons.
Okay.
And some of the hackathons then produced. So we have education focused hackathon.
Okay.
We had governance focused hackathon, civil space
Okay.
focused hackathon. If I can mention a few of them, one of the hackathons in education was
Okay.
Efico app.
Maybe.
So the Efico app eventually has evolved. From that app alone, so many iterations has happened. So
Okay.
many new ideas have happened
Yeah.
over time. We have prep class. I can mention so many names, so many new innovation from that
That's
uh,
the
that
original
that
concept.
original
Yeah.
concept.
Okay.
And then from the civil space, we have the concept around uh, you know, uh, 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 monitoring government expenditure,
Expenditure. Okay.
and that's where budget came
Well.
out from. So it was just a coinage of budget IT,
Mm.
budget I using innovating the budget with technology.
Technology.
So the fusion of name. Our guy is Shehu and his friend. They came up with that concept. Could you believe that budget did not win the hackathon that they participated in?
Not it.
They did not win the hackathon, but their budget is an institution today.
Yeah. Sure.
It's an institution. It serves so many states in Nigeria, and it is putting government on its toe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just for one idea,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the power of idea. We've seen it over time. Over time, the concept comes from just one space, and it has blossomed. So back to the issue we mentioned about funding, and how do you account to your funders, who are your investors?
Yeah.
They put money, they invest money in you,
You.
and then over a short period, that money is almost devalued.
Yes. It becomes a serious issue.
Yeah, you just have to bear with it. So what some founders do, and I've learned from some of their, is that they have a series of negotiation. They keep having negotiation with their investors. And some of these things are also written down, like part of their agreement
Okay.
in starting this process.
Mm.
Knowing the
Nomenclature of Nigerian
exactly,
space. That's
knowing the Nigerian space is so volatile.
yeah.
There's so many things that, I mean, as part of our conversation, you see some of the topics
The
we
threats.
raise. I mean, some of the
Yeah.
threats about even regulators can
Mm-hmm.
be a threat to you.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
environment, the power
Mm-hmm.
is a threat.
So businesses in Nigeria.
Power supply. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we did talk about some of the guys who are brandishing just a website and claiming to be startup founder.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's not because they don't want to scale. It's because the environment is stifling. It's stifling the innovation in them. In many countries of the world, many advanced countries of the world, the guy you call a startup founder, he just need to have the idea. The
An
environment
enabling environment has
is
been made.
enabled for him. So he doesn't think about how do I pay to register my business, for instance.
Yes.
That is sorted. How do I power my laptop to work, to even
Mm-hmm.
innovate on the idea.
Get internet access.
Internet is sorted. The space to work from is sorted.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sort all those
And you can
issues,
even get grants, a startup grant or
absolutely,
uptake grant.
absolutely. I know. I mean, I've interacted with so many. Friends from other parts of the world, and they tell you that there's a guaranteed startup fund
Okay.
for ideas. So you come, you pitch your idea, and then you get the funding, not
Okay.
for you to spend
Yeah.
on yourself. And if you actually talk to some of the frustrated Nigerian startup founder, they were really innovating, but they just needed
A
that
little
push.
push.
They needed a little push to take them to the next level,
I
which they
understand.
never
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
Yeah. So
We had some of this experience too
oh
when we pick
sure,
it up,
sure, sure.
so
So
we
that's
understand what
that's
we're talking
that's the
about.
space. Yeah.
Man, this country, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't
Yeah.
been an easy road. We're starting
Absolutely.
as a startup in Nigeria because there are so many things there are so many challenges. We can't even start to name all of them because if we start to go through that route, then we're not going to end these shows. We'll just keep talking about problems
Yeah.
rather than seeing the opportunities, rather than seeing the positive
Oh,
side of it. Because even as we speak, there are so many startups who are still getting funded up to date.
oh,
So
sure.
the excuses are not even is not even allowed.
Yeah.
You get so that now this brings me to government regulation because over for like some couple of months ago, we've been hearing about rumors about government coming in to come and regulate the space because we've seen that it's like the startup is now the new gold or the new oil in Nigeria because the way
Oh
these
gosh.
startups are really pulling in investors. You see, in Nigeria now, the hottest business is this startup business because a lot of investors are seeing potentials in this country, even if our government or the so-called elites or our politicians are not seeing the value in us. We ourselves, we know that we have something because I believe necessity is the mother of
Invention.
invention.
Yeah.
So I think they've pushed us to the wall to an extent that in our sorrows we started creating opportunities. Like if you watch those startups, they never had any government backing.
Yeah.
These are just guys who just came up with these ideas and they passed through the burning surface of Nigeria's space, especially in terms of regulations. So this brings me to this point. We have this National Information Technology Agency that's supposed to regulate the technologies or the startup space. And we've been hearing a lot of things that they want to. In fact, they are reviewing the set policies that has been existing now. They need to now factor a lot of things into the new setup. And there was so many controversy, a lot of rumors. I don't know if you could share more light on it, and then maybe you just enlighten some of our viewers on these key points
Okay.
that I've just
I
raised.
mean, I mean, some of the things you mentioned, like I was just flowing with your conversation just now, and you said the guys who have innovated and who are doing things, they did it in spite of
Yeah, sure.
the challenges, and that's usually the real thing about innovators.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at all the innovators in the world. They don't wait for backing. They don't expect support from any. In fact, the only thing government should do is to just give an enabling environment, just allow people to innovate and to thrive. Of course, you regulate, and the regulation should be that you are you are doing things that can help the industry, but not you regulate in this with the intention of killing the industry.
But with this new bill, what it's saying is, I don't think they are really giving room space for companies to try because it means that the NIDTA has the sole power now to, according to the so-called proposed amendment bill that they want to pass. So they give you the sole right to they decide who's going to be a technology company or who's not going to be a technology company, which is going to kill creativity because I believe government policies should enable business environments, enable businesses to thrive. You can't just be coming up with policies that will be stifling or push these guys. Number one, we already have issues with people a lot of excuses for us not to even scale in the first place, because we talk about lights, we talk about road network, we talk about poor internet penetration, a lot of things, a lot of factors. Yet the innovators or the startup guys are still pushing it. They are not giving up. Then you now come up with a policy that is going to even kill them finally. I don't think is this the right approach, that a government who is not even creating a platform, then you're not killing the businesses. I don't know.
I am trying very hard to hold my my thoughts and my emotion
No,
to
but
keep it in place. Truly,
it's very
Nigeria,
painful.
Nigeria. Some people say Nigeria is designed to just kill you.
I guess I'm telling you, because
See,
it's
it's
insane.
we've just mentioned some few things right few moments ago.
Yeah,
You just need to be in other places, and if you are a Nigerian, you automatically do well. You
sure.
you just excel. You do well because you are not thinking about somebody trying to frustrate your efforts.
Imagine.
Now, most of the companies I mean, most of the startup we mentioned in Nigeria, we talked about. I mean, I like the fact that you said let's not focus on the challenges. Let's look at the opportunities also. But right after you said that, you went back to
But
you
it's the
went back
truth.
to mentioning the issues
No,
because
it's painful. Okay,
it is frustrating to be
let me even throw.
a founder in Nigeria. It is frustrating.
About 3 days ago,
Yeah.
CBN came up with this e-money. I don't know if
Oh,
e-naira.
sure. I
You've heard
know.
of it?
Oh, of
And they
course.
partnered with a foreign tech company.
For sure.
Like, I was like, for crying out loud, why will a government do such a thing?
The same CBN that, I mean, banned cryptocurrency,
I mean,
which is something that they are now embracing
after the world has
from
left us.
the how do you put it now, from the back door, right?
Yeah. And there are so many tech startups who are even thriving in that space.
Let me just address a few things, like some of the things you mentioned earlier. The opportunities are enormous, and the most important thing about opportunity is our numbers in Nigeria.
Sure, yeah.
So we have a very large population.
Okay.
That population is mostly young and urban urban population,
Yeah.
or semi-urban, or people who are prospecting to be based in urban centers. Upwardly mobile people, they are looking for opportunities, so they keep innovating, they keep thinking of what to do, how to make life better, things like that. So you can't go wrong with that kind of a population.
Mhm.
What has that done to this ecosystem?
Yeah.
Is that we have at the moment we have close to 170 million SIM registrations.
Okay.
Can you imagine what that means? It
That's
means
serious business.
SIM registrations in Nigeria over 160 million.
Million.
So, and most of the connection into the cyberspace, into the
Yeah.
internet, are done from the mobile.
Yeah, sure.
So, the percentage of mobile to other devices that connect to the internet, mobile is over 80%, close to 90%.
Yeah, true.
So it means that people are always on the go. They are thinking. So Nigerians are thinking on their feet. Most of the startup guys you mentioned, they are thinking, they are innovating. If you have a very good idea, you are likely to succeed in Nigeria.
Yeah,
And that is why investors will keep coming,
sure.
because they know that this country has the number. They has the number, and there is a young population. So they will keep coming and say, how can we innovate this space? What can we do? Now imagine some of the frustration that we have. 2 years, I mean 3 years prior, 2012, I mean 2018, Grokada
Yeah.
signed an agreement with the state government
Okay.
around innovating the
Transportation industry.
transportation, the motorcycle transportation
Yeah.
in Lagos State. It was in the news. We saw it. They had,
Fantastic idea.
and they had an academy
Yeah.
where they trained their riders
Yeah.
on how to behave on the road, how to be, observe. And they have an app whereby
Yeah.
just like the mobile, the car,
Brands that do
that do
car shuffling.
exactly carpooling.
Mm.
So it was a similar concept, and just about a year after, less than 2 years actually, the whole policy was brought
Reviewed and
reviewed,
they killed the business.
and it was said that no Okada, whether recognized, whether branded or not branded, will be allowed to what, to go to ply the roads, including the ones that have met the requirements of government. How do you think that kind of, and they've sunk a lot of money,
Yeah, millions of
millions
dollars.
of dollars into that business? When that new policy came, you could see the desperation, the
Mm.
despondency in that founder.
Mm.
They had over 1,000 or more than 1,500 bikes
Mm.
that met the requirement.
Yeah.
They had all that parts,
Mm.
all the people that they employed, because it was, just imagine
It was a
1,000
thriving
people,
business now. We
1,000
understand.
people, or 1,500 or 2,000 people brought up the street,
Mm-hmm.
multiply that,
Engaged,
engage, multiply that.
active
One
engagement.
of the ladies that was really lamenting about that, she mentioned that a lady doing that go-kart business,
Imagine.
she mentioned that she's responsible for her family.
Hmm.
She had, I think, whether five siblings and her
Wow.
mother. So six members of a family relying on her.
Oh,
So
wow.
multiply that by 1,500.
Hmm.
Just imagine the number of people that were affected just by a
Just a single
policy
policy.
of government. Yes, we understand it was a safety consideration, but why didn't you think about that before making the policy and signing the agreement that allowed those guys to
For
sunk in
me,
their money
yeah.
into the system? So they brought in their money. Now, what have they done? That's where you see innovators. They have pivoted.
Yeah,
So
sure.
right now they pivoted into logistics,
Mm-hmm.
but the damage has been done.
Yeah.
So the optics for many investors is that we are not even sure about that
Exactly.
space.
Mm-hmm.
That government policy can just wipe our money away any moment. So those are the issues. Now you mentioned NITDA. NITDA is an act. I mean, it was established 2001.
Exactly.
Incidentally, the same year that GSM came into the country, and it became an act. It was just a bill as at that time. It
Yeah.
became an act in 2007.
Okay.
What was that? Basically, just to oversee the space,
Yeah.
the
The technology
technology
space in
space.
Nigeria.
NITDA means Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency.
Agency. Yeah.
Basically, just to supervise and regulate. What have they done? What are we seeing? It's funny, but it's not funny.
I'm telling you.
It's frustrating because um earlier this year,
Mhm.
I think in March, the DG of NITDA, Kashifu Abdullahi,
Mhm.
went to the National Assembly to lobby them. And some of the things he mentioned is that there's a particular comment. He said anybody who has a mobile device
Mm.
has a potential of being monitored. Yes, it's a good standbite,
Mhm.
but what it has meant and what we are seeing, even from the minister of that oversee that
That's
agency,
Isa Patani.
Pantani, is that look at what we are doing now with our SIM registration,
Yeah, and
linking it, having all people's database. All that is necessary, but to what end? To
that's the
what end?
question.
To what end? So those questions need to be asked, because what we are now seeing is that the new bill, we have seen some of the new propositions in that new bill, and some of the new propositions are really really not nice.
Draconian. Or even
I
it's
mean, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to choose my words.
yeah, I understand that part. But the truth has to be said.
I mean,
It's not business friendly.
let me mention a few of them. So, for instance, Section 6 of that new bill
Yeah.
says they will test and approve a technology before it is used in Nigeria. So help me make it right. Let me make sense of it. So a technology is the world no longer a global village.
I just don't understand.
So we Nigeria has to wait like obedient children for
Mm-hmm.
NITDA to first check a technology
Technology.
and use it and understand it before you now say okay it is approved for Nigerians to use. Is that it's done in other parts of the world? That's one of the new. And then section 13 says for a business
Mm.
that has made over 100
100 million.
million uh, naira
Mm.
in revenue, they will they will have to make a contribution, compulsory contribution, because it's not stated there it's voluntary.
Yeah.
I wish it's stated there that it's voluntary, so the company can decide I'm not donating.
Mm.
So you have to make a contribution of 1% before tax.
Wow. Are you serious? Before tax?
Yeah, you have to make a 1% contribution to a certain uh, funding. I mean, whatever agency they are trying to work, certain somewhere. I don't know what it is. So how do you expect those businesses to thrive? Please, I mean, if you have,
1%.
yeah, just imagine it.
See, so it brings me to this point. I don't know if these guys in power, they don't really think before they start to propose these laws. Because imagine 1% before tax
Yeah,
means your revenue flow. They don't even
no,
consider the cost of
your
sale,
cost, your revenue,
your
your everything,
expense,
your expenses,
your
your
logistics,
everything.
everything.
Yeah,
Your
it's in there.
your capex,
Yeah,
your apex.
yeah, everything is there.
Like
So they will take that before you can now.
then there's no business anymore. Because
Well,
if you pull out 1% out of my business before tax,
yeah.
means that by the time I pay off all my cost of sale or maybe cost of goods sold, by the time I do all my balancing of my sheets, at the end of it, I can never break even.
Well,
Because if they've pulled it out from like let's say the gross, after I've netted, I've done
uh-huh.
all expense has been paid,
Yeah.
then the profit we can now share 1% out of it. It makes more sense that way.
No, they
So
don't want to
after the
do that.
1%, I'm still going to pay my tax.
Yeah.
Then I don't think they are serious about what they're saying. No, no, but it's
so
the truth.
so
They're not serious.
I can see your frustration also.
Then that means I'm not going to be in business. It doesn't make any sense.
this is what we are this is what
No,
we
it's
this
not
is
going to fly.
this is what we are talking
It will not fly because
about Nigerian startup scene.
it doesn't make. See, what's the rationale behind this? It's going to kill that business.
You
That
know,
business is not going to see the light of the day.
the reason why I am, like I said, I'm from the media part, right?
Shit.
I also have a platform,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs. And when I see some headlines, I have been very, very discreet in how I report this industry, this space. You see, the startups space
Mm-hmm.
is not all flashy every time.
Yeah, of course, we know
I
that.
The reason why most of these laws are coming in is
Mm-hmm.
because it looks like government guys are saying that it looks like there's money in this place. Oh.
But the truth be told, yeah, there's money. Won't dispute that fact.
Eh,
But the money is meant to do something.
no, they don't see it that way. They see that there's
Just
money to be taken.
to be taken.
Yes. Now there was an headline by one leading newspaper sometime this year. I
Okay.
think was it late last year or early this year. I think by this day, and it featured a number of young faces, tech startup founders,
Yeah.
and the headline was tech startup in Nigeria. I'm paraphrasing, but
Mm.
it's something similar.
Okay.
You see, the new oil.
Mm.
This is the new oil. This is Nigeria's new oil. Tech startup space. Tell me, any government that sees that say, whoa, so the oil is no longer in the under the ground.
Yeah.
It's within the taco. Oh, yeah, let's go over after them. That's what we are seeing, because I cannot imagine for the life of me how a thinking and innovative government
Yeah.
will want to stifle the space that is
Even
innovating, that is
yeah.
trying to employ. I mean, let
That
me.
is even reviving the economy
That is it.
because you are bringing in investors and you are stifling those businesses. You're squeezing them, squeezing the life out of them.
Let me.
And so once these guys, just imagine like Twitter ban.
Yeah.
Do you know how much it's costing us as a nation? Do you know how much the startups who are doing their real business on that platform is losing? on a monthly basis. I don't know if the government is thinking, because number one, these guys are not going to pay you tax anymore.
Yeah.
Your revenue flow is going to reduce, because what we're saying is running into billions of naira.
Let me give you some numbers around the startup scene, just to tell you why they think that this is where it happened. Of course, like you said, there's money there, but those money are not free money.
Yeah, of course. It is not free money.
They are
The money that is
money
being
from
accounted for.
investors
Yeah.
who have labored and they see that there's a huge potential
Yeah.
in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Let's innovate that space. Let's galvanize this space using all the and most of the resources they are using
Yeah.
are even also local.
Yes.
So the guys, I mean, we were both at CCOB at some point.
Yeah.
I remember we met. That's where we first met, Emmanuel. And some of the guys that we work together in that
Yeah.
space, the guys, what's it called? Paystack. I
Yeah.
remember Ezra
Yeah.
and his friend, Ezra Olubi and his friend. They had a corner when they were building Paystack at that
Sure.
point. That was where the Paystack started. Ezra just had his dread coming up gradually at that point.
Yeah.
I remember even Sheon Nigbide,
Yeah.
at some point was at startup, I mean at CCO.
Sure.
Even Iyi
Yeah.
Aboyeji, he
Mm-hmm.
was at
Andela. So
yeah.
what are we talking
So
about?
they grew through the process.
Yeah.
So
Then there was an enabling environment.
no,
There was, because we had a place. Yeah, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is
the
that
enabling
then
environment was also even what's it called now? It was private sector driven.
no, but
It wasn't government.
we had a thinking government then. We had a minister that understands the
Oh,
ecosystem.
sure.
So
Omobola Johnson.
that's what I'm
You have
saying.
to give it to her.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sure.
So then they
Absolutely.
created an enabling environment for businesses, startups. All these draconian laws or rules weren't being applicable then.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
So
Totally.
it still boils back to what we're saying. This government needs to sit down. We're not here to criticize anybody, but when you do the right thing, of
I
course,
haven't
we'll
seen any
support you.
criticism in what we are doing so
So
far.
they should sit down and critically understand this business nature. Because I remember when the minister was Mobola Johnson, right?
Yeah.
She used to come to CCO then.
Oh,
She will
sure.
talk to tech startups.
Yeah.
She will look at what you guys are doing. They will start to create opportunities. That was when I think Innovation Hub came up or something.
Of course now.
Yeah, because so when you pre-incubate, you now go to advance to the main incubation stage.
Exactly. In fact, they even went as far as establishing a similar hub.
Yeah.
Close in the next building. Because they saw what was going on. They said this is where things are happening, and because of that kind of drive, it's not what we are seeing that has made that space.
It's not from
recent.
Yeah,
It's what has happened over time.
Exactly.
And what we now see is that we have the economy, the numbers. Like I said, we're going to talk startup funding into Nigeria as at 2019 was at as much as 663 million US dollars.
Imagine.
I'm sure by now we'll be crossing
close to
3 billion.
Yeah, 2 billion, of course.
In terms of contribution into the space. How about innovation globally? We're far behind. We're supposed to be much closer, but all the challenges will make us go far behind.
Yeah, real.
We are 117.
Imagine.
As at 2020. In terms of entrepreneurship, we are 101. What is affecting it? Ease of doing business. To the point where I think a parastatal was set up. They call it ease of doing business, something. I've forgotten the real name. Ease of doing business in Nigeria, the ranking, global ranking, we are 131.
Imagine.
Ease of starting a business, we are 105. And I'm sure it is due to what has happened in recent time that we even came to 105.
Imagine.
Because before this time, if you want to start a business, you have to go through hell.
Yeah,
sure. You have to do this, you have to do that. But now, thankfully, the process is almost seamless. It's very easy.
I'll give it to this government in regards to business registration, your corporate affairs. Yeah, the vice president really made a lot of impact in that area, so we'll give it to him.
Yeah.
But my own is where I'm going to fault this government is You cannot be stifling businesses that are just coming up. These startups, for crying out loud, you didn't do anything for these guys to be able to raise this money. You didn't create any environment for them. They, out of everything, they still went as far as getting these revenues, getting these monies into those countries.
I blame this day for doing that story. I'm
I'm
calling
telling you, in as much as we are laughing
because
over it, but
yeah, because
yes, now
since that headline was a big headline. I
wow,
wish if I can show you the newspaper headline. It was so
wow,
big and it shows some faces there. And
yeah,
Kobe was like, "Hey, this is where the money is now. Let's go there." And since that moment, a lot of
wow,
draconian things. Let me mention another two sections in this new NITDA bill. Section 20 and section 21 says only NITDA can identify which startup can operate. I mean, can identify that a company is a tech startup
wow,
in the Nigerian space.
shit,
So with without NITDA, without government acknowledging that you are a
yeah,
startup, you cannot, basically what it means is that you cannot operate within the space. So somebody can just say, I don't like this one
I don't
face,
like his face, or I don't like his tribe. Maybe it's Igbo, Yoruba,
hair
and they'll
or
just
whatever. Yeah. So all these things have to be happy, and I'm happy that there's something going on. I think we need to mention it before we close. I like the fact that this is being spearheaded by guys in the private sector.
yeah,
Um, one of the proponents of that startup bill is the co-founder of DIY Law,
yeah,
um, Funkola Odeleye.
okay,
So basically, what they are trying to do, at the moment, in fact, today there will be a town hall
okay,
in Ilorin.
okay,
So there's a bill. It's called the Nigeria Startup Bill.
yeah, sure,
So the Nigerian Startup Bill is being spearheaded by this private sector.
okay,
So it has gone through the first reading. They have
okay,
now going to regions,
okay,
locations. Yesterday was September 3rd, right?
yeah,
There was a town hall at Banawa area in Kaduna.
okay.
So all this will lead to them representing this bill
Okay.
to the National Assembly. This one will now represent the industry demand.
So will this supersede this National Information Technology Development Agency bill, the act that they want to renew, and they are reenacted?
There are different. There are different bills. There are different bills. So the NITDA Act is a government agency act, but this one is the industry saying this is how we want the industry to look like. This is how we want it to be regulated.
But won't it be conflicting with this act, the NISDA act, with the startup bill?
Well, I think by the time they take it to National Assembly, they will have to ratify them.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to say is these pain points that you highlighted
Yeah.
here in regards to some of the
Oh, of
so
course, the new
are
bill.
they going to review this one? Because there will be conflicting this things with regards to these two bills now. This is a separate bill and this is a separate bill.
Yes.
This is championed by the government while this is championed by private business owners. So how will this affect, okay, how will these two bills, because now they are two separate things now.
Yeah.
This is what the government is telling you that they
Yes.
want,
Yes.
and this is the way they want it to be.
Yes.
So I think for me, we should focus on this bill, this needs that bill. We should kick against it because this thing is going to be killing innovation. Imagine if I have a proof of concept, have a minimal viable me before I can even scale.
Yeah, I see.
And you know how government thing is. Before you get licensed to be able to, it will
So
take you like forever.
so why we this conversation now
Yeah.
is like we saying this should not go.
No, we're going to take. We're going to
This
follow up on this bill.
this
Of course,
NITDA should not, it must
it will
not
not
be
scale.
passed.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is that you don't overcome darkness with another darkness, right?
Sure.
So you have to overcome a better bill that the whole Nigerians can support, because NIDA cannot be the lord and master of that industry.
Yeah.
It's just a regulator.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no place in the world where some of these things that they mentioned is done.
It's not done
So
anywhere. It's just in Nigeria. And
it
so
can't
it shouldn't
happen.
see the light of
No,
the
no,
day. I don't think this thing should.
no,
We
no.
should follow up on this. And
Oh,
these are the things we need to call the government's attention to it.
absolutely.
Look, you create an enabling environment for business to thrive. You don't kill businesses. You
No,
don't kill startups.
no.
Because with this new act, of course, there's no business that will see the light of the day. About 3 days ago, 4 days ago, I heard the Nigerian postal agencies doing same too. Postal, all the courier agencies,
I
and
said
they're telling
something
them two
earlier.
percent
I don't want to
revenue.
repeat it, but Nigeria
It's crazy.
is designed to kill you.
It's crazy. Why are
So
you
you just refuse to die.
multitasking people, and you're still going to pay tax with
Yeah,
regards to all these things that you're
yeah,
doing, profit after tax.
yeah.
So this 2% is for what?
I don't know. I don't know. It's unbelievable.
I think the government should wake up from their slumber and
Yeah.
start to do things that are going to help. We are complaining about the coronavirus pandemic that has killed a lot of businesses, and instead of you to be encouraging businesses, you're killing them. Why you? I think it's high time we need to hold this government accountable for what they are doing. Create enabling business environments for people to grow. We're not asking you to give us money, keep your money to yourselves, but just create laws that will help businesses see the light of the day. Because it's not easy, it's not funny anymore in this country.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if we have more time, but I just want to say that um the whole essence of what we're doing is a sort of advocacy.
Yeah, of course.
What is right, what is wrong is wrong. And some of the things that we are seeing about trying to stifle the startup industry, the startup ecosystem, it is wrong.
Yeah,
Nigerians have suffered enough. They are innovating in spite of not having all the best tools to survive.
yeah,
They are still innovating.
sure.
Don't kill their innovation.
Yeah.
Let them survive.
Yeah, on those notes, thank you, our listeners. The time is so short, and at this point in time, we need to just say thank you for listening. And Femi, do you have a parting word for our listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this. I I didn't know the time just flew by. So
Yeah,
so thank you for having me.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you very much, and wish all the listeners a good weekend.
Yeah, so thank you everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. I still remain your host, Odo Emmanuel. Please, please, please follow us on all our social media handles. And for more information, we can continue this conversation on the chat group. So if there are questions or anything you want us to, throw more light or explain or, pushing more information about, please don't hesitate to follow us on all our social media platforms and our websites, lagoon.news. We love you. Stay at this point. Stay blessed. Till we meet again next week. Bye bye.